Hey adventurers, Jacob here from Local Adventure, and today we're going to be talking about the best cheap vlogging camera. Now this is a lot of cameras to check out all in one video, so we're going to break it up into a few different videos and check them out based on categories. That way you can kind of compare them apples to apples. We're going to be looking at some action cams, camcorders, larger cameras, but mostly compact cameras, and break them down based on price. Now when I say cheap, I know that's kind of relative, but all of these cameras are under $500. In these reviews, we're not going to really talk about the technical aspects of the cameras or the specs of them, but really talk about how does it feel, what is it like to use, and then give you side-by-side comparisons of the footage right out of camera so that you can decide for yourself what you like the best. Now I'm sure you've heard it before, but the best camera is the camera that you have with you. We get the question all the time, what's the best camera I should buy? And my first question is always, what's your budget? Usually I suggest writing down what you want to accomplish with the camera. Some people only want to do photos, some people want to do video and photos, other people only want to focus on video. Then compare the cameras that fit within your budget and see which one fits your needs the best. So with that said, let's get started. Today we're going to be checking out the last category of cameras in this entire series, and that is action cams. We're going to be looking at the DJI Osmo Action, which comes in at around $369, and the GoPro 7 Black. Now I know the 8 Black is out now, so I'm going to be talking about that as well. It's just that we already own the 7, so we're going to be testing with that one. The 8 Black is $399. Inside the box, you have the camera as well as the housing that it comes in, battery that I've already charged and put into it. There is a cable to charge the battery or charge the camera as well as connect it to the computer. And there's a few mount pieces that are right here that you'll see. And this is what the battery came in. So it's a nice little case if you want to carry additional battery. There's even, looks like a little slot for a memory card right there. Let's talk some quick specs. The Osmo Action shoots at 4K 60 frames per second. Now, if you haven't seen any of the other videos, or you're not sure what that means, most YouTube videos that you see are 1080. There will be 4K videos. Those are really high def and something that you probably don't even use when you're watching it on your phone or your computer or anything of that sort. It's really nice to have when you're doing really beautiful shots and if you want to actually punch in on any of that stuff, because for example, if this is a 1080 frame, 4K would be something like this big. So if you edit it down to 1080, you could actually zoom in on any section of that to this size and it would still be just as good quality. The downside to that is it takes a lot of processing power to edit. When I'm trying to edit 4K on my laptop, it struggles. So I prefer to shoot in 1080 when I know it's just going to go up onto YouTube. When I mention 60 frames per second, that will give you a reference of how slow-mo or how fast you can shoot it. What you're usually watching is 24 to 30 frames per second, so at 60 frames a second, you get about half speed. So rather than this, you're getting this. Now if you shoot at 1080p, you can actually get 240 frames per second, which is about 10 times slower than actual life. The Osmo Action is waterproof up to 11 meters, and supposedly you can actually connect an external microphone to it. I've been looking up some reviews on that. It doesn't seem like a great solution. We're just going to be testing the onboard mic today. The camera has a nice large screen on the back, and what's cool is it also has a screen on the front where you can flip the image to the front so you can see yourself. It's a really nice touch. Besides that, there are 3 buttons on here. There's kind of a start-stop button right at the top. There's a power button to turn the display on and off. And then there's a quick shot button on the side of the device. Everything else in the menu is done by touchscreen, where you can drag back and forth to get to different settings. And to flip the screen, you just double tap twice with 2 fingers. In the GoPro box, I'm actually not sure if I still have everything in here because I've taken a lot of it out. You have the GoPro itself, a battery which is charged and placed in it, as well as the housing, charging cable, couple extra mount pieces. I think I'm actually missing a couple mounts that I already have put on other items. For the GoPro, I'm going to talk about the specs for the 8. Just like the Osmo Action, it shoots 4K at 60 frames per second and 1080 at 240 frames per second. The Osmo Action has a fixed lens where what you see is what you get. On the GoPro, there is a couple settings that you can change where you can get super wide, wide, or normal. And I'll go over that when we're testing the cameras. There's a screen on the back and there's a small display screen on the front. It doesn't show you what you're shooting, but just shows you that you are recording or how much time you have left and how many items you've recorded, just some basic information like that. And this goes up to 10 meters underwater. Now let's briefly talk about the microphone aspect. Both of these, like I said, you can get an adapter to where you can hook up an external mic. I just spent 30-40 minutes watching videos of people testing it, and it doesn't seem like it's a great solution right now. On top of that, when you do hook it up, it adds a bunch of cables and dongles, and there's nowhere to mount the microphone, so you'd have to have a whole setup just to have it work out well for that. What I would suggest is after we test the audio, if you don't love it and you still want to get decent audio, pick up a lav like this one. I use it to where I can just hook it up to my phone and it's pretty good sound. Now the design of the 7 is a little bit different than the design of the 8. There's only a couple buttons. You got the power button, record button, and then everything else, just like the Osmo Action, is on the back side to where you can flip, swipe and get to different parts of the menu. Now the 8 is a little more sleek. A lot of this is built into the camera and the battery is on the side so that this mount to where you mount it onto the latches can actually flip down and sit flush to the camera, which is really nice. With that said, let's take these outside, test them out in a few different environments and see how they perform so you can decide for yourself. All right, since we're still in quarantine, I'm not going too far away to test it out. Rather than using a whole rig, since these are so small, I'm gonna just handheld them just like this, point them at myself and see how it goes. Let's do it. We're gonna start off this test right on the side of the road because there's gonna be a lot of car noises coming by as I'm talking. What is my hair doing? That's kind of the downside of being able to see myself, right? It's kind of windy out here. Anyways, we're gonna do that, walk back and forth. I'm just gonna keep talking so you can see what the sound is like, but also see a couple different light settings. So right now, the sun is directly on my face. Very harsh. I'm gonna flip it around in a quick sec, maybe right now. And now it is backlit, so the sun is back there, and we'll see how the cameras adjust to that kind of light. So we've been doing a zoom test with all the other cameras. Now the Osmo Action doesn't really have zoom, but I do want to show the difference with the GoPro and the different lens settings. This is super wide, this is wide, and this is what they call linear. And we're not testing any crazy movement. We are gonna go down the stairs and up the stairs again. I'm gonna go pretty quick with these just because they are small and I can run a little bit faster, don't have much on me. I am just shooting with shadow on me, aren't I? There you go. All right, that's why it's nice to have that screen facing you. All right, so we're gonna go shoot it downwards towards the stairs, going down, back at me on the way up. Let's do it. Oh God. How'd that do? I'll actually go running down the sidewalk for a second too, just to see how it does. Just want to make sure I'm holding on to these tight. Almost dropped the camera once already. Let's do it. There's gnats out here. The GoPro I'm leaving just at a wide setting because I think that's gonna be more default, but we're gonna test some B-roll now, which is basically some just beautiful footage I would use to transition things and show more behind the scenes of where we are, and usually throw it to music, something like this. All right, lastly, we're gonna test how it does in some lower light settings. We're going to the bathroom. Bedroom light on, dark bathroom right here. That's how it does. I don't think it does so well from what I can see. We're gonna turn on a little bit of light because obviously we're not gonna be shooting in complete darkness most of the time. Here's one more right there. It gives us a little more light in here. Still not amazing, but a little bit better for sure. And this room's super echoey, like in the bathtub. Whoa, 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 echo, echo, echo. So there you go. That's the test footage. Let's go back to the couch. All right, so now that you've seen the footage, what do you think? Personally, if I was using this specifically for vlogging, that front camera is really nice to have and is kind of the game changer in being able to see myself and be able to frame myself for any of that. So I would go with the DJI Osmo Action. Thank you guys for watching, and special thanks to B&H for providing the cameras for us to check out. I've linked to both cameras below so that you can pick them up or if you want to look more into them. And I highly suggest watching the video on the 8. They actually show some of the test footage and you can see the difference between the 7 and the 8 and the technology between them. I've also linked to our blog post where we cover all the different cameras that we're checking out for this whole series of the best cheap vlogging camera. And if you have any other questions, just leave them in the comments below. Thanks guys, see you later.